right now on 5 on your side at 10.
A weather first storm alert. Intense thunderstorms stretch from Iowa all the way to Texas right now. They're heading our way. We're tracking when they arrive and the threats that come with them.
Tornadoes, damaging winds, and hail. We could see it all over the next few days.
This is going to be a nightmare.
Tonight, those still recovering from storms just weeks ago are bracing for more damage. Plus, cicadas are back. Should you now be on the lookout for copperheads on their tail? We verify. We start with breaking news out of North St. Louis. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Kelly Jackson has the night off. Right now, homicide detectives are on the scene of a car into a building. Police say the man behind the wheel was shot in the head. This is a live look at the scene near Hardy and Davison Avenues. This is just a couple of blocks west of Calvary Cemetery. This is as close as our cameras can get. The building is down that alley. We're working to get you more information, and we'll bring you any new information, any overnight developments on the 5 on Your Side app. We are in a storm alert tonight. Right now, it's all clear in St. Louis. However, the threat of severe weather will move in while you will be sleeping, so it's important that you are weather aware tonight. The same line is already causing damage in Oklahoma and Kansas, 2 states under a high rare risk warning tonight. Tornadoes have been reported in Oklahoma, while apple-sized hail has fallen northwest of Wichita. Those storms should be less severe when they arrive here. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is tracking the timing and intensity in our Weather First forecast.
And maybe less severe, but still severe when they come in for many of us early tomorrow morning. It'll come as a big gust of wind, and potentially we'll be looking at not only that, but some spin-up brief tornadoes on some of the leading edge of these storms. Right now, there's a couple of little spot showers in southeast Missouri, but you see there's really 2 kind of lines here showing up out to our west. The ones we're most concerned about, the ones that are here across southeastern Kansas, down here north of Tulsa into Oklahoma. These are the storms that are going to be pushing towards us as this line continues to solidify. And some of these storms, not only have they been producing strong winds, but that storm north of Tulsa, a confirmed tornado with that, along with a very large hail. So how's this all going to work out for us overnight tonight? Well, that line is now congealing and forming basically a pretty solid line, and we expect that to track on to the east as we head through the overnight hours into early tomorrow morning. So by 2, 3 o'clock, it's nudging up for areas just west of Bowling Green, down just to the west of Rolla. As we head towards 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, it's nudging closer to St. Louis. All these little nudges on the front of this where the storm is kind of pushing out a little bit, those would be wind gusts that are out there, and potentially you could get some spin-up brief tornadoes with that. So after about 7:30, 8 o'clock, it's all out of here. What we're tracking tonight, that line of thunderstorms. The timing, 2 a.m. until 8 a.m. The main threats will come in the form of wind. Could be straight line winds, 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts with some of the strongest storms, and potentially an isolated weak tornado. We'll catch you in a few minutes. We'll talk about more of the weather threats that are coming before this week is over, Mike.
And you'll want to keep your phone nearby overnight. The Weather First team will also be here sending alerts through the 5 on Your Side app, and we will be streaming on 5+. You can also text the word weather to 314-425-5355, and we'll send the latest forecast to your phone. While wind remains the biggest concern tonight and into tomorrow, hailstorms are looming as we get closer to Wednesday. And how can we forget that baseball-sized hail that pelted St. Charles County just 2 months ago, causing massive damage to cars and homes? New tonight, Annie Kroll continues our Storm Alert team coverage with how people are preparing for this week's round of severe weather. Annie.
The hail damage on March 14th was some of the worst we've seen in the last few years across the bi-state. Damage especially to homes, not to mention windshields of cars. One car dealer I spoke to said that they lost almost 90% of their inventory in those storms.
Baseball-size hail hit the O'Fallon and Wentzville area on March 14th, leaving holes in the sides of homes. According to our meteorologists, some of that larger hail can fall as fast as 20 to 40 miles per hour. At the Travers Automotive and RV Group in O'Fallon, Matthew Fleshman says dozens of their windshields were demolished.
March was absolutely crazy for us.
Under blue skies, though, Monday, this same parking lot looks very different. Now, almost 2 months later, you'd never know the damage they had to go through at their 4 locations.
It hit our RV lot and Travers GMT Auto West, and it was devastating, absolutely devastating.
Between the RVs and the cars, there were almost 500 units that were destroyed during the storms. But Fleshman says their worrying may not be over, as hail is expected on Wednesday. And there is still nowhere inside to protect their more than 1,500 vehicles in stock from the elements.
This is going to be a nightmare. Unfortunately, there really is no prep work we can do as a dealer. We're just going to have to take and roll with the punches to see how things go.
More hail means even more repairs for auto body shops.
They're still not even caught up. We're still seeing storm teams down the street. Our body shop is still backed up 3 to 4 months, so it's just trying to stay ahead is the biggest thing.
Travers says they can sell some of those cars already on the lots at slightly lower prices to try and get them on the roads before Wednesday's predicted hail comes in. Reporting live in St. Louis, Annie Crawl 5 on your side.
Developing tonight, SLMPD's Force Investigative Unit is investigating after St. Louis County police officers fired shots in North City. This all happened around 5 o'clock tonight at the intersection of Acme and Lena Avenues, right at the border of St. Louis City and Jennings. That's where 4 armed people, we're told, got out of a suspected stolen car after driving through stop strips. They ran off and officers opened fire.
There's lots of folks in the area relative to a block party down the street. 2 of the individuals disappeared into that group, but no one was injured, no one was hurt.
All of the suspects are believed to be juveniles. Police are still searching for 2 of them tonight. The car they were in was wanted for a string of car break-ins and business burglaries in the county. Tonight, a 19-year-old man is now charged in the murders of a brother and sister in North St. Louis County. The siblings were gunned down at a home on Wardak Avenue. That's just south of St. Anne. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski joins us now with new information on what led to the violence. Laura.
Mike, I stopped by the family's home on Wardak Avenue again this afternoon. They didn't want to speak with us on camera, but tell me they're heartbroken and grieving the loss of these 2 siblings, Lanijah Cooper and Mark Rhodes Jr. It was a calm Sunday morning. Many in this St. Louis County neighborhood were about to head to church when suddenly they heard gunshots.
And it's just so sad because, nothing really happens on the street.
Moments later, their street, Wardak Avenue, was filled with St. Louis County police cars. Neighbors I spoke with wanted to remain anonymous for their own safety.
So I told my baby to get down because I didn't know what was going on. And then I grabbed my fiance. I'm like, hey, I think I heard some gunshots. So he ran outside to see what's going on.
Another neighbor saw 2 victims with gunshot wounds laying in the street and tried to help them, grabbing towels and a belt for a tourniquet.
By the time I had already got there, it was too late. There was nothing I could do. They both sustained shots to their side and the organs where there was no putting a tourniquet, nothing. It was already too late.
Police say the victims were siblings, 19-year-old Mark Rhodes Jr. and 20-year-old Lanijah Cooper.
Now, unfortunately, that mother lost her son and daughter.
Investigators say the suspect, 19-year-old Lamar Harris, took a lift to the victim's family home and got into an argument with Rhodes. Court documents say Harris and Cooper were previously in a relationship, and Harris was there to confront her, claiming she had slashed his new girlfriend's tires. Police say Rhodes punched Harris in the face, and that's when Harris pulled out his gun and started shooting.
The guy was a monster. She tried to run and hide along the bushes over there, and I guess he heard or saw her, and that's when he shot and killed her. And he did it and then had an Uber ready for him so he could get out of here and try to vanish. But the cops, they saw him getting into a car and they thought it was weird, so they pulled that car over and stopped the Uber drivers.
The community says they're glad no one else was hurt in this tragedy.
We just prayers to the family.
Lamar Harris is currently in jail, being held on a $750,000 cash bond. He's been charged with second-degree murder and armed criminal action in the death of Rhodes. Connected to Cooper's death, charges connected to Cooper's death were taken under advisement. Now, if you'd like to help the Cooper Rhodes family with expenses, we have information on ksdk.com.
Tonight, the latest shots fired call is turning the light on growing crime concerns in Soulard. Police say last night gunshots rang out and hit cars and windows at an apartment building near Soulard Market. New tonight, Robert Townsend gets reaction from neighborhood residents and leaders.
On Monday afternoon, this parking lot in Soulard was empty, but not so much Sunday night, says neighbor James Marino.
It sounded loud. Probably heard 20, 30 rounds.
Police confirm around 11:30 that night, gunfire rang out. James Marino says people in 2 cars were in this parking lot near 8th and Carroll Streets shooting at one another.
They ran to the window, was looking. Then they spud down this road right here and shooting at each other, going out the window, going up the ramp of the expressway.
Officers went to the area and saw bullets hit at least 4 cars, apparently in the parking lot and 2 windows across the street at the Soulard Market Loft apartment building. This boarded up window at Pieces STL Bar is just below Marino's apartment. Marino says for months now, young drivers have gathered at the parking lot and caused problems.
Creating a nuisance, doing donuts, spinning wheels, shooting off guns, and last night it really got out of control.
This is absolutely a problem.
8th Ward Alderwoman Kara Spencer says the city treasurer's office owns this parking lot and must ensure it's safe.
Making sure that the security measures, whether they're cameras, lighting, that they're kept in good working order, that those things are taking place.
People just parking out here in the parking lot. They don't even go in the bar. It's crazy.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Police tell us they're also looking into about a dozen car break-ins that happened in that same area in a gated parking lot early Sunday morning. If your car was ransacked, you're asked to call St. Louis police. Uncertainty tonight in Gaza. Israel is launching strikes just hours after Hamas said it accepted a ceasefire proposal. People poured into the streets of Rafah celebrating the announcement. Israel says there's no deal yet and far from meeting its essential demands. The Biden administration has been pressing for a ceasefire deal which would free Hamas-held hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and get more aid into Gaza.
We continue to believe that a hostage deal is in the best interests of the Israeli people. It's in the best interest of the Palestinian people. It would bring an immediate ceasefire. It would allow increased movement of humanitarian assistance, and so we're going to continue to work to try to reach one.
And today was Holocaust Remembrance Day. President Biden and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu discussed a shared commitment to honor the 6 million Jews who were systematically murdered. Tomorrow, the president is set to give a speech on combating anti-Semitism. The cicada comeback has begun.
Oh boy.
Providing a smorgasbord for more ominous, creepy crawlers.
They just so happen to opportunistically come across these cicadas and feed upon them.
Tonight, our Verified team untangles a venomous viral claim.
An overnight storm alert as this rough line of storms continues to march toward our area. This is just the first round of severe weather threats this week. What you need to do before heading to bed tonight.